Hello friends, welcome to Third Stall Garage. My name is Doug and this is
Dale.
And this is big episode 50, I think, if we can count. We've just been debating whether it's 50 or 51. Once it gets close to your age, you can't count that high. We're working on a 66 convertible Beetle named Hendrick, and today we're going to be working on final fit for fenders and fitting running boards. Running boards.
Talking through your nose.
Yes. All right. Let's watch Dale's favorite clip and then get into it. Last week, we finished the front bumper and the overrider bars and got all of that done, which is great. We were super excited that the next step was to get braces on and then drop the body pan. And what we discovered is that there's a few more steps that we should probably do in between. So Dale started messing around with the running boards, which I think are sitting right here. And the wrong one. Dale started messing around with the running boards just to make sure that they fit. There's, I think, 4 mounting bolts that go into the heater channel, and they are supposed to fit with the same curve as the bumper with about a 1/4 inch gap and a little rubber washer. The hole in the running board is supposed to line up with the hole in the fender, and the odds of all of that lining up perfectly is almost nil.
Especially since we know it didn't.
Yeah, it did before. We also learned a lot as we massaged these bumpers, fenders, as we worked on these fenders to get the holes to line up, perfectly centered in the bolt hole. We ended up doing a lot of welding of those holes, grinding them to shift the hole over. And now we like that the bolts are all centered in the hole and we've got some adjustment. We had not figured that out yet when we did the rear fenders. And so what we've done is we put a pause on, drop in the floor pan, and we have reworked all the mounting holes on this bumper.
Fender.
Where's the other one? Oh, here's the other one. Oh, sorry, Dale. You can see, if you want to zoom in a little bit closer, these are all done. So we've kind of re-welded them up, ground them down. They're not, you can tell that they're not perfect, but they're all pretty good. And the gap, a little lip of metal here is pretty solid, so that the washer should grab it well. So this one now we can mount on the far side, and now the rear fenders should be in good shape. Fitting well, which will allow us to move on to fitting the running boards. And I think if we can get the running boards on and mounted well, that will be another big milestone for us. So thanks for following along. Sorry we didn't film a lot of the work last week, but a lot of it was those fender mounting holes, which you've seen before in a previous video. Not that exciting to watch or frankly to do, but I think we're close to done with that. We also have one more mounting bolt right here where there is a hole in the fender to mount the bolt, and there is no threaded nut welded into the car. That one is completely gone, so we're gonna have to figure out how to fabricate that. So let's get to it. Okay, quick update. We thought we were missing a threaded nut right here because both of these were covered up by the fender, and the fender hole was down here. And so actually all we needed to do was to fill this hole and drill a new one there. And so that's what I just finished working on. Marked and measured, and here is the location for the new hole. And then I welded up the old one. So now I put a copper backing plate on it. So I will need to just grind that smooth on both sides. and then we're gonna test fit that and see if it's centered the way we want it. And if it's centered nicely, then we'll grind it a little bit larger so it looks factory location. That came out all right. Hello friends, it's another Tuesday night and Dale and I are working back on Hendrick. I think earlier in this video we were working on the fenders, getting those fit, and we feel great about all 4 of the fenders. Now we're on to the running boards, and I think we're figuring out a couple steps to get those to fit. In all honesty, Dale's working on the other one, so we're, say hi Dale.
Hi, Dale.
Hi Dale. So we're learning on that one so we can show you how to make this one, the driver's side, fit really well. So a couple steps. Let me show you the first one. A while back, Dale could never figure out why he could not get all 4 of these bolts in. And one of the reasons is because inside the heater channel is the threaded nut that I assume is welded in there. And you can see the whole threaded nut through the hole, but before that, the threaded nut was not in alignment with the hole, and so the hole covered up part of the threaded nut. And so the bolt would just simply not go through, or if it went through, it was on a bit of an angle and kind of munged up the threads a little bit. And so we ended up grinding each one of these so that you could see all of the threads. This one you can see how, come on camera, focus. It's a little bit off center, but at least all of the threads are visible. And then Dale chased them all with a tap. So we know the threads are all nice and clear. So that was step number 1. Step number 2, which I think will be for us, is we will be mounting the running board using these holes and then massaging the the fender to match the curve of the running board and make sure that it's fairly level with the car. And then we'll see how we land with these 4 mounting bolts and whether we need to grind and modify or weld up those slots. So let's get the running board mounted. All right, I'm gonna try to film this, but I just have a phone and a not steady hand. Okay, so I'm under the back of the running board, and there is one of the bolts. You can see the bolt hole is partially covered by the slot. And so we will probably need to grind out the right side of that slot. So that's the rearmost one. And then it gets slightly more interesting. Here's the next one. And you can barely see any of the hole there. So that will need to be ground way to the back. And then more weld added on to the front. We have a similar one here. And then this one is similar as well, where you can just see a little bit of it kind of coming through. But we've got a couple other things that are going on. One of them is, I don't know if you can notice, but the running board is not touching the heater channel. There is a pretty large gap. If I shine a light behind it, you can see there's a pretty large gap back there. So that's something we need to address. A couple of things we're looking at. One of them is the running board level this way. Another one is the running board kind of flat to the car, and that affects greatly, you know, where those bolts go in. Another one is the curve of the fender relative to the curve of the running board. I think we did this off camera before, but our gap here was not at all parallel. Ended up just kind of bending the fender by putting my knee against it and pushing to get this curve to match the running board. That didn't make Dale very happy. No. Or it stressed him out as I did it, but it worked. It worked.
You could have told me you were going to do it, but
you wouldn't have let me. This gap, if you look down right here, is one of the next things we need to figure out why that gap is so large. We may need to slot this hole here. We may need to massage this lip a little bit. So we got a bunch of work to do on this one yet, but we'll show you the progress as we make it. All right, running board's back off on the bench, and our theory partly as to why we had such a large gap right here is this flange mushrooms out right here. It's a little hard to see, and it makes sense because if maybe there was one bolt that fit here and the running board didn't fit right, if they tighten that bolt down, it's going to pull this flange up. This one right here kind of mushrooms out as well. So we're going to pound these down flat on all of them, and then we'll test fit it again and see how it fits. So we're running into a couple challenges. One of our thoughts is the surface of the door sill here, the heater channel, is very visible as to whether it's parallel to the running board or not. And so one of the things we're trying to match is this is fairly close. It's just a little off level. And that's because the floor in my garage has a slope to it. So we're trying to match that with the running board. We've kind of gotten a pretty decent match, and that gives this kind of a parallel look all the way across. The other thing we're trying to match is the flatness of the running board this way. We're assuming it's supposed to be flat. My eye keeps telling me that that is flat, but when I put the level on it, that is flat. Or I should say level, not flat. This is level. So with these two on, we have the bolt with a rubber grommet down on that end. Then if you look at this end, you can see that this hole does not line up the way that it needs to be. And the flashlight's now on the ground. So we either need to go higher with this end of the running board, which is going to give us level issues unless we go higher on both ends. Otherwise, we may need to weld this hole shut and drill a hole farther down. You're going to see a little bit that the running board doesn't match the contour of the fender a touch. That's what we got to solve. So these lines mark where we want the running board to sit level this way and sit level this way. With it in spot, we stuck a Sharpie through this hole and traced, and that's where we think we need the hole to be. The hole is way too high on the aftermarket fender, so we're gonna drill a hole.
If it don't fit,
Unibit.
That's one of our commenters.
Yep. All right, let's remount it up and keep test fitting it. Hi. So we have the running board mounted with just these grommets. Now our slots that those 410 millimeter bolts go in are nowhere close to where they're supposed to be. So I'm just going down the line with a Sharpie, and I'm actually drawing, oh, this one I can see about half of it. I'm drawing on the heater core, or the heater channel, as much as I can where the slot currently is. And then when we take the running board off, that will help us know how much we need to move the slot in order to get it lined up with bolt hole. So it's a little bit of a, I don't know, transitive kind of property thing. Here you can see the black spot is where the slot was in the running board. And I could not see this bolt at all. So we need to go, you know, solid 1/4 inch to 5/16 over. This one was really hard to get the Sharpie in there, but it was off to the left. But then we discovered that I could draw, you hold the flashlight. There we go. I could draw with a silver Sharpie. The silver Sharpie there is the center line of where the bolt should be. Silver Sharpie there. And this one was right on track. It was right where it's supposed to be. So we will grind these 3 and weld them up, and we'll try again. All right, Dale's finishing putting it on after we ground those slots, welded them, test fit it, realized they were off a little bit, ground them again. Nothing's tight, you said, Dale? So right now,
Except for that one.
okay, first bolt's going tight.
I'm happy.
Is this the same balance?
Yeah.
That's about the same as the body. That's pretty good. And see if I can get underneath. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 way down there. So we got.
1 second.
Oh, don't say that. Wow.
No, I think I gotta push.
Oh, there's a pause button. Oh, that's kind of slick. Oh, I'm recording. This is what it's like doing technology with old people. All right, so you loosen that up.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Push that in, the gap goes tight.
as tight as we can. Yeah, we're running into that. We're gonna let's good enough rarely is. Let's do something with that so we can get that in a little bit tighter, I think.
Okay, don't release it yet. Okay, so there's we just put this little relief bend in there. I put it in the vise and tapped it with a chisel and kind of curled it around, and then cut off the end over here and smooth it all out so that it will fit around this extra layer of material, so that hopefully that gap goes away like that.
That's the kind of quality we go for at Third Stone.
Yeah. Something's got to go right every now and then. All right, we have 6 bolts all centered in their holes and able to tighten it. So let's snug it up. Well, friends, it's good news for us as we wrap up this video. I'll be honest, probably not the most interesting video I've ever filmed. A lot of us talking and scratching our heads, not as much filming to doing. Sorry about that. But the great news is the car has running boards on. Dale stand on it. Look at this. With confidence. All 6 bolts sit centered in the hole. They're level front to back, inside to outside. And we're feeling really good about that. You may wonder what that is over my shoulder right there, leaning against the garage. And that is some 1x1 steel tubing underneath Hendrick. There's all kinds of lumber. And we've got episode 51 is going to be an exciting one. So
Easy step 3.
easy step 3 on our way to easy step 6. So thanks for following along. Have a great day. Take care.